Well, hello, and welcome to Opal City Confidential, a Starman podcast, episode 66, Merry Pranksters. This will be the third part of the Solomon Grundy adventure, and I'm looking forward to talking to you about it. I know there's been a gap. Here we are. We're at issue 34, and we're going to be talking about Merry Pranksters. Let's get some pertinent data first from Mike's Amazing World and Fandom Wiki. So, from Mike's Amazing World, Starman number 34 was on sale July 2nd, 1997. Cover date September 1997. Cover price of $2.25. 32 pages. Archie Goodwin, the GOAT, as the editor. Again, it's called The Merry Pranksters. 22 pages. Stars Jack Knight Starman. Written by James Robinson. Artists Steve Yeowell, Mark Buckingham, and inkers Wayne P. Von Grawbadger and Wayne Falker. Bill Oakley on inks and Gregory A. Wright on colors. It's been reprinted 3 times in Infernal Devices Trade Back 2000, Starman Omnibus Hardcover Volume 3, 2009, and Starman Compendium 2000 and Volume 1, 2021. Wow, it's like every 10 years or 11 years. Wow. You should be reprinting this stuff every year, people. All right. There's some stuff from the, is there anything from the Fandom Wiki that extra things? Let's talk about the cover. It's a great Tony Harris cover with Batman, Sentinel, and Jack going into battle with all these faces of Solomon Grundy's behind him. Is always a beautiful cover. There is a synopsis in this. Oh, goodness. This will be helpful because I was going to just go through it. Solomon Grundy lies at death's door, seeking to save the reformed villain. Jack Knight enlists the aid of Batman, Sentinel, and Fluronic Man. They enter Grundy's mind only to find an army of angry Grundys about to confront them. Cryus Gold, the human root of Grundy, shows up and tells the group where the good Grundy is. However, he does not want the good Grundy to exist anymore and has the other Grundys attack the group. Ted Knight, in the physical world and monitoring the 4 bodies at rest, realizes that something is wrong. In order to enter Grundy's mind and join the group, he takes a bite of the fruit. Inside Grundy's subconscious, Ted is transformed into a young Starman and notices his son and the others are in trouble. He comes to their rescue. Afterward, Grundy tells them he can't fight off Gold and the bad Grundys. He can't come back to the land of the living. The others leave him behind and are back at the medical lab where Grundy's body is at rest. That a lot happens in this story, and it's very action-packed. It's got some great flashbacks in it. It's got some Swamp Thing mentions. It's really full of that. We get to find out that, Grundy, like Cryus Gold, like Grundy, is the human personality, even though it's not at the top, but it's what makes, Alex Holland makes the Swamp Thing heroic. Cryus Gold makes Grundy bad. So I think that's very cool. But some of the guests in this is Doc Fate, in a flashback, Doiby Dickles, Green Lantern sidekick in a flashback, Fluronic Man, Justice Society flashback, Adam, Black Canary, Dr. Midnight Flash, Hawkman, Hourman, Sandman, Wildcat, the Spectre. Spectre's only mentioned. Solomon Grundy, Alex Holland is mentioned. Atlas is mentioned. Oh, wow. I didn't know that. So there's a lot going on in this one. There's a mention of Michael, the Start Ring. And you remember Alan is the Sentinel. He doesn't have the ring. He has the power of the flame inside him. But let's just I'm going to go kind of through it. This starts with a great flashback setup page by Steve Yeowell. It's so good. I love Steve Yeowell's work. I really, really do. It's beautiful. And it's him and Mark Buckingham are great in this, and they're different, and that's what makes it great, I think, in a lot of ways. The book ends, Yeowell does pages 1 through 3 and 9 through 22, and 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 5 pages by Mark Buckingham, which I really love, and the inks are amazing. It's just amazing. Oh, Yeowell even does it, 1-page inks. It's a good mix of art. I mean, it works great. You see all these Grundys, and they look different. The only one I really recognize is the one dead center. He's wearing the suit and the shirt and the boots. So that's just his normal thing. But it's a great sequence because you start with that. You're underneath the 5 bodies of Grundy, Fluronic Man, Batman, Jack, and Alan Scott, and then you're in the confrontation. And one of the Grundys comes up and is talking, and he calls, it's this great. This bad Grundy asks, "Why are you here?" Fluronic Man goes, for that part you most recently were. And the Grundy responds, "Meet Grundy, the good Grundy? You want him?" Starman's, "He's my friend." "Friendships come and go, and some friendships never end. Eh, Green Lantern?" And Green Lantern responds, "That's not my name anymore. I'm called Sentinel now." "A pity. The old name suited you." And then the leader just turns into a puddle of goo, and then out walks Cryus Gold, saying that's just his hollow shell. And he's cool looking. He looks like an evil the guy from Monopoly. And this is where Woodrow tells a different how he is. He's the Alex Holland of this Swamp Thing. Grundy's basically a Swamp Thing, just like Swamp Thing is. And Batman knows about it because he's friends with Swamp Thing and so does Sentinel. And that's where we get this is when the Buckingham art starts, when we see the flashback story to Cryus Gold. I mean, it's so good. The way he draws Cyrus is a little bit better than Yeowell's. I think his Sentinel it's the only time I've really loved Sentinel. But we get to see what the whole history of it, and it's really well placed out. Some good coloring choices for the flashbacks. But we get to see, that every 50 years he comes back, and he's different. Sometimes he's very ferocious, other times he's a criminal. And I covered his first appearance, and he was, gang used him as muscle for stealing, and he took over the gang. He was smart enough to take over the gang. So this is the second one, which we'll be covering later, in JSA 33. I'm sorry, All-Star Comics 33. We get to see this whole other story, how he came to be both times, how the second time he was sealed by fate. And then Batman goes, "Once I fought him, he was near and career to beast," repeating the first verse of that child rhyme over and over again. Another time, he was mindless creature of pure rage. So the two Batman were even worse. And then Woodrow gives in, like, hey, each one of us is a different part of the meat. The meat is whole. The moss sprouts and grows up in different ways, parts of the whole. And Cyrus is in, that's right. As Gold, I was a man of good and bad thoughts. I was a man who raged and had gentle times. Other creatures are the embodiment of the men they were. In my case, each time I revert to the swamp and regenerate myself, I am a different aspect of the man who was Cryus Gold. And Jack's like, you seem very happy with this. Jack, I'm dead. I have no control over what aspect of me goes into each new Grundy, nor am I aware of what they do in your reality. I'm here, in this reality, enjoying a kind of existence that as good as it gets. You want a particular variation of me to live, the gentle Grundy with the heart of jasmine blossom? Which one is he? I don't know. This one, that one, I don't know which Grundy is which. And Batman's like, no, then how did you know Jack's name now? None of us have used it. How did you know unless you were linked to the old Grundy outside of this reality? And Gold is, bravo, Batman, bravo. Perhaps I lie. Perhaps I am linked to Grundy and enjoy some semblance of the mortal life through his antics. I imagine that you're very proud, Jack, being here with two great heroes. No offense, Woodrow, but your status as to hero or villain has never been finalized. Two great heroes, Jack. What do you feel about that? There's no time for this. Tell us where the Grundy is, the Grundy we want, my friend. Then answer me, and I'll show you I will show you. How do you feel standing next to two men who never met Grundy as a friend, only as a foe? Jack thinks and he goes, it's like Woody Allen movies. And I love this section. Everyone knows in their heart which are the great ones. Everyone knows Annie Hall, Manhattan. but they're not the ones that necessarily you like necessarily. Like for me, Jack, it's Radio Days and Broadway Danny Rose. One for the nostalgia, the other because I like the character Alan is playing. What about you, Sentinel? And Sentinel goes, I like musicals, so I'll go with everyone says I love you, and Hannah and her sister, and I like Hannah and her sisters just 'cause. Woodrow would like interiors, most amusing, no matter Woodrow laugh. That was one, wasn't supposed to be. What's your favorite, Batman? I bet it isn't Take the Money and Run. And Batman goes, I don't watch films, and I don't understand how we've even got on this absurd tangent. We're in a supervillain subconscious, not a coffee bar. Man, I don't believe you. Everybody has a favorite Woody Allen movie. And Green Lantern, Sentinel jumps in and goes, even the Spectre like bullets over Broadway. I don't care. I'm ignorant of the man's work. Jack, and then Cyrus jumps back in. And anyway, Jack, what has this to do with heroes? Well, it's the same. With everybody who knows who the best are supposed to be, Batman here and Superman, maybe Captain Marvel, the Flash, Green Lantern, at least the Flash and Lantern died, but they're not necessarily your favorites. I admire Batman's skills. It's almost like he, like me, overlooked the abrupt and aloof SOB he can be. But who I do like, Sentinel, for one, the original Green Lantern, he was the big guy back in the old days. The one my dad and everybody looked up to. Apart from that, I don't know. Anyway, I answered your question. If it gave you some jollies, getting me into my head a pleasant diversion from your existence here in the swamp, I'm happy to. Where's my Grundy? The Grundy who saved my life. That Grundy is all along, and he's up. He's been tied to a tree. They've been torturing him. And then Cyrus orders the Grundys to attack. And then there's this great 2-page spread with 3 panels. It's a great fight sequence. And then we cut to Jack, and he's the Ted, and he knows something's wrong. It's a big panel with the bodies of the 4 people are fighting for their lives are moving. He jumped. And then you see him grab the tuber. We cut back to the fight, and they're all being overwhelmed. And the next page is 3 panels of Ted flying, doing super. And then we get 2 pages with 6 panels each, which are just Jack and Ted fighting. The other guys are in the background, but it's all focused on Ted and Jack. It's great. They rescue Grundy, and then Grundy tells him that he can't live again. And he thanks Jack, and he thinks it's just this touching goodbye. And then the last thing he does is say, goodbye, Ted Star, goodbye, Jack Star, and then he's gone, which there's a blank panel, and then it's Jack going, goodbye, Solly, goodbye. And then they all disappear. And then the final page is just them all around his body with the title Merry Pranksters to be continued. So I loved it. I loved it. I loved the story. The art was beautiful. And we still got one more chapter of Infernal Devices. This is all part of Infernal Devices. We'll get the final battle with the mischievous Dr. Pip. But I really like this. I liked the pop culture reference. I think what he's saying is like, everybody's different. We like different aspects of somebody. And using Woody Allen, who has a wide breadth of movies, is not a bad one. I don't think he'd be used nowadays because he's kind of been slowly canceled. And not for bad reasons. But I like it. And I mean, I have my favorite 2 would be Sleeper and Radio Days. I understand why everyone, and I do love Bullets Over Broadway. As a theater person, I love Bullets Over Broadway. But I got to pick it between Radio Days. I'm going to take Radio Days. There's a little bit of my dad in the dad in it. New York frustrated with his kids. But this is a great one, and it's just a good ending. Just enough action, just enough thought-provoking thing. I just love Robinson's work, and this was a great issue, and I really enjoyed it. So now we're going to do the follow-up, which is All-Star Comics 33. And let's get some pertinent data. So All-Star Comics was approximate on sale date was December 27, 1946. Cover dated February, March 1947. Editor Sheldon Mayer. The name of the story is The Revenge of Solomon Grundy. It's a 38-pager. Features the Justice Society. It's written by Garnder Fox. Art by Erwin Hassan. Joe Kubert, Stan Ashmeyer, Martin Nadel, John Chester Kolzak, and Paul Reinman. It's been reprinted twice in Super Team Family 4, 1976, and All-Star Comics Archives, Volume 7, 2001, which is where I have it. The roll call: Hawkman, Flash, Green Lantern, Atom, Dr. Midnight, Johnny Thunder, Wonder Woman. All right. Villain, Solomon Grundy and the Grundy Gang. His last appearance was Comic Cavalcade 13. His next appearance is Comic Cavalcade 24. Guest appearance by Thunderbolt and Doiby Dickles. And here is a quick synopsis of the story. A lightning bolt frees Solomon Grundy from captivity of the power ring bubble. He travels across the country to find and kill Green Lantern in revenge. When the JSA arrives for a meeting, they find their meeting rooms wrecked and Green Lantern missing. They split up to search for Grundy, but who they believe has abducted their friend. Each member follows clues to separate cities and has run-in with Grundy, except Johnny Thunder. Johnny only meets a Grundy imposter. After each member fails to individually bring Grundy down, they locate him together when they discover Grundy locked in combat with Green Lantern. Dr. Midnight resuscitates GL while the other finally knock out Grundy. GL is imprisoned by the ogres on the moon by Doc Fate and Green Lantern, make a bubble around him. And I think that's where he pops up again in the showcase. Brave and the Bold team-ups, which I've already covered. So let me go through this one. This has an amazing cover. I'm not sure who the cover artist is, but I really like it. Oh, it's Hassan. It's a great cover. It's got the yellow banner across the top, All-Star Comics in red and white. It's got Grundy over a crystal ball and the edges. A full-length adventure, the Justice Society of America, featuring Hawkman, Dr. Midnight, Green Lantern, the Atom, Johnny Thunder, Flash, and Wonder Woman, The Revenge of Solomon Grundy. It's a great cover. It's a great splash page, which I shared on the socials, which is the 7 members of the Justice Society. The team is this has gotten smaller, and these are the guys that are there for most of the rest of the run. I think Johnny leaves and Black Canary takes over. But you just get a flashback to a 1-page flashback to say Grundy's last appearance when he was first introduced, and then him stomping all over the city. And then there's Green Lantern, he's in there, and he's in the place where it's destroyed. And then they have their meeting for a couple pages, and then they go on their way. The art for Hawkman is Joe Kubert, and it is fucking mind-blowing good. It is so good. It's just about a father and son who have rival newspapers who get Grundy is messing with, and Hawkman saves them. But it's some stellar art. Stan Ashmeyer does Doc Midnight. The art's getting better, guys. I think the art is a little less rush looking on these. I even really like the Johnny Thunder one. His is basically a Betty and Veronica with a Scooby-Doo kind of villain, and Thunderbolt only shows up at the last page. Another great, the Flash stuff is great. Who did Flash? I think that's maybe not. I don't know on this. It's really good though. I mean, I think all the art is so much better in these stories. It looks like they had more time. And the Green Lantern stuff then is Paul Reinman, and it's wonderful. His Green Lantern is all of it. It's just so good. It's just a good one. It's also, they're getting away from, they're still breaking up into solo adventures. They haven't gotten to where they're really just doing team ups. Garnder Fox is I think Broom is the one that transitions it to the more what we would consider a more traditional super team format, or at least a Silver Age format. But this one's good. I mean, I've done the first 2 Solomon Grundys, and it's the same character that I've been seeing throughout all this time. I mean, it's spot on. It's such a good comic. I will think I at some point will do an All-Star comic read through in order. It can be a bit of a chore at times. They're big, and sometimes my brain's not in the right space for Gold Age. It's like sometimes it's not in the space for Silver Age. Like the reaction I had to some of the Silver Age Fantastic Four. You know, was there a nostalgia? Do I accept the DC stuff out of nostalgia because I read it when I was a kid? And I think it's yes. This is being recorded on the 29th, the day after my 60th birthday, and this past weekend, 10 dear friends and family threw me a little birthday party at this restaurant that was about to close. Another friend of mine owned. We had a good time, but we talked about nostalgia versus me and Vic, kind of for just quickly. And I was thinking about it because I'm going to be talking about this week, and I'll be doing recording today, Tuesday, the 29th, 30th. Every day this week I'm going to record something to get ahead. But these last couple and the Black Pirates that I've done that aren't Ted, because I will say the Starman is good. The Starman solo stuff is really good. I mean, sometimes the plots are repetitive, yes, and they're simple plots, but the art is stellar throughout. In All-Star Comics, I have some ups and downs with some of the art, and I think it's, as I've said before when we've covered other ones, as we're covering the ones that Ted are in, that some of the art is rushed. This one, it looks less. Kubrick's drawn Hawkman. They all look good. It's a good team-up. It's a good lineup. I mean, getting rid of Johnny soon, getting Black Canary makes it... It's the last 10 issues or so, or 15 issues of All-Star Comic, I think are incredible. Have some of my favorite stuff is in it. So we're getting close to that. All right, folks. Well, that's it for this week's Opal City Confidential. I will be back with some more Will Payton next week. And then in 2 weeks, hopefully, if we can stay on schedule, we'll have the last part of the Infernal Devices, what would have been the Infernal Devices trade back. All right, folks. Recommendations. Let me see. What am I reading right now? If you haven't read the Absolute Power event and you have the app, read it. I actually enjoyed the hell out of it. Every issue was fun. All of them worked for me. Even the books I don't read, I really, really liked it. Cannot say enough good things about it. Read it, read it, read it. And I am reading all the miniseries and events that kind of tie into this. I read a reading order, and it was like, you got to read the Suicide Squad, Volume 7. You got to read Titans. You got to read Nightmare. You got to read The Beast World, and that'll lead you up to that. And all comes out of Infinite Frontier, which is the last big event I really paid attention to in real time. So I'm doing it. So I'm gonna take a break after recording this before I edit and post it, and then I'm gonna read something. And I think I'm gonna do the next batch of the Suicide Squad, which I didn't mind. They were okay. It was Suicide Squad. It's got different members, but it's still the Suicide Squad. All right, folks. As always, be safe, be smart. Please be kind to one another. Election, we voted. Everybody go out and do your civic duty, and a couple weeks maybe. I'm still doing this because depending on the outcome of this election, I might have to take a pause. All right, folks, be good.